Yeah.
The domestic terrorists, Christians. Yeah, the Christians that just go around causing all kinds of hell for people.
Yeah, buddy. I got a gazillion examples of it. You know, let's get into it. Thank you. That's a good transition to our next set of stories. The Christians that just go around causing trouble for people. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who decided to go to a Walmart over the weekend and got really upset. Walmart, many of your customers in my district are reaching out to me about sex toys being sold in your Dalton store. They're extremely upset and absolutely horrified that sex toys are being sold openly right next to children's toothbrushes. They're in the pharmacy section. They're not labeled as sex toys. They're not even necessarily sex toys. I believe a lot of places sell them as like back massagers and hip massagers or whatever. Yeah, sure, I'm sure you can stimulate your clitoris or even your penis or your balls or whatever with one of these. I'm absolutely sure you could use it for that.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Are they demoing them? No, they are not. They are clear. Like, I can't really zoom in on the picture here, I don't think. Yep. I can zoom in on the page and it makes the picture smaller. They are discreetly labeled. Nobody would know what the fuck they were. It's like vibrating massager or something is what it says on it. And, you know, it's right above the lube and the condoms. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, this is grooming. Literally not. Literally not. By the definition of the term, literally not. You're an idiot. She goes on a whole rant. Selling sex toys openly where children are exposed to them is wrong, inappropriate, immoral, indecent, perverted, shameful, and incredibly harmful to children. Fuck off. Why is Walmart participating in the grooming and sexualization of children? They aren't. Is this all stores or just Dalton? I don't care how big your corporation, how much money you have, how powerful your lobby is, how big and powerful your political influence is. I just don't care who you are. I will always firmly stand up for what is right and do everything I can to protect kids. It's just simply not true. I cannot comprehend how we got to a place where people think that they have the right to force sexual adult issues on children. Apparently, having a vibrating massager on a store shelf that somebody could purchase is forcing sexual adult issues on children. These people are warped in the head. You do not have that right. Because no matter how hard you try to twist your perversion or your perverse ideas into reason, any of this nastiness is okay. You are wrong. The district I represent, Georgia 14, is firmly opposed to any and all grooming and sexualization of children. It is largely Christian and conservative. Ma'am, I wasn't going to bring it up. I feel like I bring this up all the time. I'm a broken fucking record on this. But your district in Georgia that's largely Christian and conservative, no. You're not firmly opposed to any and all grooming and sexualization of children. The U.S. Southern Baptist churches facing apocalypse over sexual abuse scandal. A report named hundreds of church leaders accused or found guilty of abusing children and says that the survivors were mistreated. You are not fundamentally opposed to sexually abusing and grooming children if you are conservative and Christian. Matter of fact, I think you're far more prone to it. And the reason why you fucks talk about it all the time is, yeah, I gotta reset the clock. See, that's why'd you have to do the no profanity on me when I'm going off on this? So mean. America's largest Protestant and second largest Christian denomination is being roiled by a sexual abuse scandal that casts a harsh light on one of the most politically powerful religious groups in the country, as well as a renewing focus on its racist past. Southern Baptist Convention, one of the states that they have their largest presence in is Georgia, where they're largely Christian and conservative. Southern Baptist Convention is a collection of loosely affiliated member churches boasting just under 15 million members and is dominated by white members who are usually deeply socially conservative. The convention has often been a powerful tool for right-wing organizing in recent years, especially on issues around abortion. This is the church, this is the organization itself admitting to what it did. The issue at hand is its release of a 205-page document naming hundreds of Baptist leaders and members accused or found guilty of sexual abuse of children. The list includes 700 entries on cases between just 2000 to 2019. So can you imagine how many more victims there are? It was released after a bombshell third-party investigation by Guidepost Solutions said the convention's leaders and its executive committee failed the public and its community by mishandling sexual abuse cases and mistreating victims and survivors. I'm going to point out the date on this. June 12th, 2022. So every time I hear some dumb person talk about grooming or pedophiles, and they don't even know that this happened, but they want to talk about how drag shows are harming children, forgive me if I don't take you seriously. I can show you the real abuse of children that you did not care about. And they'll always tell me like, oh, well, I'm against sexual abuse by churches as well. But no, you're not. You never bring that up. You are on a crusade to talk about drag shows and the LGBTQ community influencing children. You talk about it non-stop. But you never bring up the churches, which admitted to doing the actual thing you say you care about protecting children from. You are a hypocrite. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm calling you out specifically. On behalf of my district, I'm demanding Walmart resolve this issue immediately. You can go back through her timeline. You can go back to June 12th when this report came out about the Southern Baptist Convention, and you can see that Marjorie Taylor Greene never got upset. Never got upset about that occurring, the actual abuse of children, because those are her supporters. Those are her supporters. I sincerely hope this is not common product placement in your stores and that the employees responsible will be reprimanded. I do not believe this repulsive grooming represents Walmart. Meanwhile, Fox News had this woman who dressed up like a cat. Dressed up like a cat at a school board meeting. I'm assuming, I don't know what her actual point was. I'm assuming that she's one of the idiots that bought into the idea that there are schools putting out litter boxes for children who identify as cats. Now, there is a grain of truth to this story. Where it comes from is that there was a school that put litter and litter boxes in a school shooting safety care package or whatever, so that students may be able to relieve themselves if they're hunkering down in the event of a school shooting. That's where this whole thing started, because, you know, once again, it's just another day in mass shooting USA. Brings up another issue that they think that apparently vibrators on a shelf in Walmart harm children, but not all the guns laying around everywhere. Which, by the way, the number one cause of death in children in this country right now is guns. Well, let's watch a woman dress up as a cat, because that's important.
These officials put kids' lives in danger to protect what exactly? We don't know.
He's not talking about the gun issue. Once again, number one cause of death in children. Guns. He's talking about woke ideas put kids in danger. Woke ideas put kids in danger.
Any kid in those schools could tell you that men and women are not the same. Just like they could tell you this cat lady isn't a cat.
I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm...
No, you are an idiot. You are a woman acting like an absolute moron. And not only does she not feel the embarrassment of getting up in front of this school in her little cat outfit, she doesn't feel the embarrassment of everybody sharing this out and going on Fox News.
I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe
No, I think you're an idiot.
child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat.
Lindsey Graham, the cat lady herself and host of the Patriot Barbie podcast.
Her name is Lindsey Graham. One of our favorite whipping boys here on this show is Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. She is also wearing her cat ears on Fox News. By the way, ma'am, you look cute in your cat ears. I'm not going to begrudge you that. But your point is absolutely moronic.
Joins me now. So, Lindsay, what was actually happening at this school district that made you have to dress up as a cat to prove your point?
Well,
Nothing.
First of all, Jesse, I'd like you to not misspecies me. I'd like to be addressed as a cat for the entirety of this video, of course.
Of course.
So
I apologize.
This was in my... Thank you. Just inclusivity is all I ask, you know. This was a local school in my neighborhood where there was a member of the school board whose name is Paul Bixler. He is a man. He's very clearly a man. And the only thing he does to identify as a female is put lipstick on. He grew his hair out a little bit, and he wears his deceased wife's clothing to school, to sporting events, to fundraisers, to school events.
Oh, so you are specifically harassing a trans person that's on the board?
One of two ways, either Paul, which is a man's name, of course, or Miss Bixler. So it's very clear that he has a gender identity crisis. And not only does he appear in front of the children and insist that the children, you know, define him as a woman, but he sits on the board and he's making decisions for these children.
Well, she was
trying to make as a cat was that, I mean, obviously you can't just identify as whatever you want, and you can't demand that other people identify you as whatever you want.
Yeah, you literally can.
This kind of mental illness can enjoy that mental illness all they want in the comfort of their own home.
And that's another thing. Enjoy this mental illness. If you believe it is a mental illness, it is weird the way you guys act towards these people. So let's talk about what gender dysphoria is. That it is indeed recognized in the DSM. But the treatment for it is to transition. Do you go up to autistic children and mock them as well?
when you put them in charge of children, we're talking about a new type of...
James, have yourself a good evening, my friend.
Terrifying is seeing these people in charge of our kids' education.
Yeah, if he has to grieve over his dead wife, he can grieve privately, but wearing his
Folk schools,
dress and putting on lipstick and growing your hair out and insisting you're a woman in front of what grade is...
None
We'll
of that.
see who cancels who.
If they want to wear lipstick and wear a dress, none of that harms anybody. And the fact that you are devoting time on a national news network to it is insane. What world do we live in? Someone on a school board decided to wear lipstick and a dress, and all of a sudden it's a national news story, and a woman is dressing up as a cat to make some sort of point about it. The fuck? What the fuck? I'm not high enough for this shit.
Is this precisely?
This is elementary school, so these are young, vulnerable minds, and the teachers, the rest of the school board...
Well, don't let them around your dumb ass.
Talking in just the deepest manly voice that he was born...
By the way, host of The Patriot Barbie, this is nothing but a publicity stunt. This is nothing but a publicity stunt. She wants to be a right-wing social media influencer. That's all this is. And she decided to dress up as a cat suit because it would get her on Fox fucking News. Fuck you, lady.
So to see these parents and these adults take no responsibility for the education of these kids and to teach them true right and wrong and true biology and true facts and science and truths is just so alarming that we have this in the school system.
Real quick, when you did this at this hearing, did people understand? How did they react?
This is a great story, actually. The next day at the gym, I saw one of...
I hope people told you you're fucking stupid.
And he looked at me a little odd. I said, I'm sure you don't want to remember who I am. And he said, the cat. And I thought he would proceed to chew me out. And he said, you know what? Thank you so much for getting up there and saying what you said. Thank you for being bold enough to speak truth.
Oh, she probably has an
This
OnlyFans.
agenda. I've been fighting this.
No, I don't begrudge her for that.
There are people on our side, and all it takes is just a few of us to stand up and speak truth and find those partners in crime, if you will, and then we really can unite together and fight back against this and save our children.
What kind of exercise
From what?
does the cat do at the gym?
Oh, you know, gosh, there's got to be something zingy I can say here. Lots of squats, litter box press, kitty nip presses, you know.
All right, meow, meow. Thank you very much, Lee.
Oh my God. But you know, they gotta protect the children. They gotta protect the children. I can't wait to tell you about this cop who was arrested for soliciting a minor. But before we do that, we gotta move down to Texas, where the Attorney General tried to get a list of trans residents for some reason. The office of Ken Paxton's request speaks to the increasing scrutiny and targeting of transgender individuals by GOP lawmakers. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's office sought data from the Texas Department of Public Safety in an effort to identify transgender individuals in the state. The department reportedly received a request in June from the Attorney General's office regarding... By the way, Ken Paxton was indicted 5 years ago and still yet to face trial, indicted on fraud charges. The department reportedly received a request in June from the Attorney General's office regarding information on Texans who had changed their gender on their driver's licenses or in other government records within the past 2 years. An internal email reviewed by the Post described the scope of the request. Need total number of changes from male to female and female to male for the last 24 months, broken down by month, the Texas DPS Driver License Division Chief wrote in a June email. We won't need driver's license ID numbers at first, but may need to have them later if we are required to manually look up documents. The department ultimately concluded that the data could not be accurately produced and did not provide any materials to the Attorney General. While it's unclear why exactly Paxton sought the information. Oh no, it's totally clear. The request itself is more than a little concerning, given how the state has been doing everything it can to make life miserable for trans people. In February, Republican Governor Greg Abbott issued a directive to state agencies instructing them to investigate the use of gender-affirming care and resources by minors as a potential form of child abuse. The directive was backed by Paxton, who days before had declared gender-affirming surgery and the use of puberty blockers for individuals under the age of 18 a form of child abuse under Texas law. Abbott's directive was placed under temporary injunction, a decision which Paxton has appealed to the state Supreme Court. A preview of what may be coming in the future of slew of bills targeting transgender Texans were filed in the first round of legislative submissions for the state's Senate's 2023 session. Members of the Texas legislature are looking to ban everything from gender-affirming care for minors to drag shows to instruction on gender nonconformity in school. This is Nazi-ass shit, literally. The Nazis attacked the LGBTQ community. That was the first group they went after. The Proud Boys shifted their focus in 2022. Abruptly shifted their focus, according to this Vice News piece. Proud Boys abruptly shifted their focus to anti-LGBTQ action in 2022. Vice News tracked Proud Boy activity over the years, showing the far-right street fighting gangs change in tactics as the GOP pushed a new culture war. Proud Boys remain an active menace across the U.S. We watched videos from just a couple of weeks ago of literal Nazis marching through the streets of Ohio. Even amid significant hurdles this year, such as infighting, their top brass facing serious federal sedition conspiracy charges, prominent members flipping on the gang, and a terrorist designation in New Zealand. Despite unprecedented scrutiny, the far-right street fighting... Every time they say street fighting gang, I sing the Rolling Stones in my head. The far-right street fighting gang has continued to act as brazenly as ever and sought legitimacy through the illusion of civic engagement. Dozens of uniformed members have marched through the streets of Long Island in broad daylight. Others shook hands with Trump-endorsed Republican candidates ahead of the midterm. Some have battled college students on university campuses. Here's a video of them marching through the streets.
These are the Proud Boys. You cannot be fucking serious.
Making gestures that are oddly Nazi-looking. Oddly, that's probably not the right word, but overwhelmingly since June, the biggest focus for the Proud Boys this year has been anti-LGBTQ activism, a hard pivot from its actions in the first half of the year. Proud Boys in at least 11 different states showed up to venues such as libraries and restaurants to intimidate drag shows, especially events touted as family-friendly, such as drag brunches or the popular reading series Drag Queen Story Hour. Vice News has tracked Proud Boy activity since dozens of their members, including leadership, were implicated in the violent riot at the Capitol on January 6th. Our database of Proud Boy activity for the last 2 years offers insight into their priorities, regional strongholds, and their resilience. While Proud Boy activity took a slight downturn this year compared to last, it remains on track to outpace their activity in 2020. Softball Saul, good evening. What a bunch of losers indeed. Right-wingers are morons.
Oh, yeah!
I wish these fucks could feel embarrassment. Do Ninja Fart, good evening, my friend. Sudden Apollo, what is up? We got some new people in here. My name is JustinFREAKIN. I do a news rundown Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you'd like to know where I stand politically, I can sum up my political beliefs with one simple phrase. I would give anything in the world to piss in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. So whatever side of the political spectrum, whatever philosophy I need to adopt to make that happen, that's what I'm doing. Give me that eye pussy, sir. Prior to January 6, under the leadership of former chairman Enrico Tarrio, who was in jail awaiting trial for seditious conspiracy charges, the gang became known for large, high-profile rallies that brought together hundreds of members from chapters around the country in one place like Washington, D.C. or Portland, Oregon. The results were black and gold quasi-paramilitary spectacles that reeked of beer and testosterone, regularly descended into violence, and attracted media and law enforcement scrutiny. After January 6th, partly at the urging of Tarrio, the group switched tactics. Local chapters burrowed into their communities and forged alliances with other right-wing activists around whatever the culture war issue du jour was. While the Proud Boys used to largely host rallies where they were the headliners, now they come in to act as the muscle for other reactionary groups. This is according to Cassie Miller, a senior research analyst with the Southern Poverty Law Center. A fantastic group who I give money to, and if you have money to throw around, definitely go help them out. They provide legal services to poor people in the South. Desperately needed. 2021, that meant Proud Boys showing up at local anti-vax rallies or storming school board meetings along with right-wing parents over issues like masking requirements or critical race theory. At the outset of 2022, a few chapters of the Proud Boys half-heartedly joined forces with the anti-vaccine Trucker Freedom Convoy, which made its way across the country from California to Washington, D.C. Totally fizzled out. I added that's not in the Vice article, to demand that non-existent vaccine mandates be rescinded. Unsurprisingly, the movement fizzled. I'm sorry, I hadn't read ahead. They did use the word fizzle. Then Proud Boys started joining the fray for other far-right extremists who were trying to build inroads into the well-established anti-abortion movement, which was energized by a flurry of regressive state bills rolling back reproductive rights and a newly conservative majority on the Supreme Court. Both sides of the abortion debate were animated in early May when Politico published a leaked draft opinion signaling the Supreme Court was poised to gut Roe v. Wade. The Proud Boys' response to the news did little to suggest that their interest in the abortion issue was based on anything other than misogyny. Ha ha ha, fuck you whores, wrote Tulsa's Proud Boy chapter on Telegram after the draft opinion was leaked. Some places, such as Florida, Arizona, California, New Hampshire, and Georgia, they took to the streets to intimidate and troll pro-abortion protesters.
Hey, get out of here! Here we go. Come on, guys. Say something.
Proud Boys weren't created by the FBI.
Our streets! Fuck Antifa! Fuck Antifa! Fuck Antifa! Fuck Antifa! Fuck Antifa! Christian ears. We love you. Thank you, guys.
No, they weren't.
Talk show here.
Like you can literally go and watch Gavin McInnes talk about founding the Proud Boys and where it started. The history is well documented. No, apparently Tarrio flipped. I mean, you say but I mean, you can. Gavin is very vocal. He has a show called Censored or Uncensored or whatever it was. Kanye West was on there talking about his love for Hitler the other day. God damn, right-wingers are morons. Earlier this year, with vaccine and mask requirements becoming a thing of the past, the right were left directionless and in need of a new culture war to stoke grievances over. So in April, when Disney publicly opposed Florida's controversial Don't Say Gay law, which bars teachers from educating kids under the age of 12 about anything related to sexual orientation or gender identity, the far right pounced. The right quickly coalesced around a baseless narrative claiming that any kind of family entertainment or education involving pro-LGBTQ themes was tantamount to grooming or pedophilia. That included LGBTQ characters in Disney movies, LGBTQ teachers wearing pride badges to school, and especially drag events that were branded family-friendly. Also became a smokescreen to justify ongoing attacks against the LGBTQ community, particularly young transgender people, and inspired a record number of bills targeting the LGBTQ community. This multi-pronged attack against the community came as the Christian right, having been handed a big W on abortion, began setting their sights on overturning the national right to gay marriage. Because of course they are. So, Operation Mockingbird, yet you listen to the news. What the fuck does that mean? Do you have something you'd like to say? My phone lines in Discord, well, my phone lines might not be open. You don't sound like you're very intelligent, but I'll give you the opportunity to make your case. 917-830-4359, or you can hop in the Discord. But I mean, coming in here and talking about how the Proud Boys were an operation by the feds, when I can literally show you Gavin talking about how he founded the Proud Boys. I can show you Gavin talking about how he's sticking shit up his ass to prove he's not gay or some shit. I know what Operation Mockingbird is. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Like, the history of, like, Gavin McInnes was one of the co-founders of Vice News. If you watch any of their documentaries on the Proud Boys, Vice always has to go into, like, Vice was founded by Gavin McInnes. Vice was co-founded by Gavin McInnes, the founder of the Proud Boys. Vice denounces Gavin McInnes and his white supremacy. Of course you won't call, because you're an idiot and you won't be able to make your argument. That's why I just break down and call right-wingers morons. Like, there's no reason for me to even engage with you fucks. You just say dumb shit. If I prove you wrong, you're just gonna move the goalpost to something else dumb. And it's a waste of fucking time. I mean, I humor it because I like arguing with dumb people and it makes for good content. I don't see ground to any of you stupid fucks. Oh yeah, sure, you're a black trans independent. I believe that. So we've been talking about how the right wing is targeting the LGBTQ community in the name of protecting children. It's just blood libel is what they're doing. But if you were to ask any of these right-wingers if they support cops, they're all going to tell you, like, undoubtedly, unconditionally, they support cops. New details released in LCSO deputies arrest Jared Eldridge, caught by co-workers accused of soliciting a minor. Well, thank God, so many times when it comes to the cops, when they're caught by their co-workers cover it up. I can point you to the Louisville Metro Police Department in Louisville, Kentucky. Police department did not expose their officers that were raping kids. No, they covered it up. So thank you to the Leon County Sheriff's Office, which apparently caught one of their officers being a fucking pedo and a groomer and actually arrested him and fired him. This is shocking to me that happened. This coming on the heels of a cop in Virginia that drove cross country. He was grooming a young teenage girl, killed her fucking family. Died in a shootout, but apparently he shot himself. The cops were not able to take him out. A former Leon County deputy was arrested and fired after being accused of soliciting a minor. 27-year-old Jared Eldridge was arrested Thursday and released on a $2,000 bond the same day. Eldridge was caught by his coworker, an undercover detective posing as a 14-year-old girl named Jenny. Oh, so they didn't even have intentions of catching their coworker. This was an entrapment. I have a lot of problems with cops doing these entrapment stings. The detective posted on a site often used by people trying to solicit minors and received a message from Eldridge, who was using the username The Bad Piper. The two exchanged dozens of messages, and Eldridge sent a photo of himself, court records say. That's when the detective recognized him as a fellow LCSO employee and someone he'd gone to the law enforcement academy with. The detective then asked Eldridge to switch over to text, but Eldridge suggested another app that automatically deletes messages. According to a probable cause affidavit, Eldridge sent obscene pictures to the detective, whom he believed to be Jenny, and asked her to send pictures to him. Eldridge attempts to arrange a meeting with Jenny, suggesting they engage in sexual acts. Eldridge is now facing one count of using a computer to seduce, solicit, or lure a child, and one count of transmitting material harmful to minors by electronic device or equipment. LCSO announced the deputy's arrest Thursday on its Facebook page. LCTV reached out to the Leon County Sheriff's Office for comment, but was told the sheriff was not available. At least they did something about it, but I wonder how public the sting was. If they were worried they'd be able to get away with covering it up, or if maybe this cop just actually did some good policing for one. Have you heard the freaking news? YouTube, Facebook, and all of big tech are trying to do a cancel culture on JustinFREAKIN.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Help the channel stay alive and grow by subscribing or following, and be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the fun, even when one platform tries to shut us up.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
If you have it to spare and really want to show support, consider subbing on Twitch, becoming a patron, or a member on YouTube. You'll get access to extra delights and debauchery, and you'll have my eternal appreciation. Thank you for being a freaking follower, and have a great freaking day.